Good morning, all of you. In today's session, we are going to start with the 10th standard chemistry and physics, unit 12, carbon and its compound, series number 19. Okay, in the earlier session, we completed about what is the IUPAC nomenclature in order to name any of the unknown organic compound provided to us. In addition to that, we completed what is isomerism, what is meant by allotropic forms of carbon atom, tetravalency of carbon, what are the functional groups present in the carbon atom, and all those topics were completed, available on the channel called the World of Competitive Chemistry. In addition to these, we already finished unit 1 to 11, all these detailed explanation available on the channel called the World of Competitive Chemistry, right? So here we are going to enter into series number 19 of carbon and its compounds, where some of the commercially available, most widely used compounds of carbon are going to be discussed here. So let us enter into our series number 19 of unit 12. Some important carbon compounds are going to demonstrated over here. Many carbon compounds are invaluable to us. So here already we recognize the importance of carbon, being carbon is having the specific property called a catenation. Millions of compounds are available based on this carbon, so that organic chemistry, a special branch is framed, and these are most versatile in pharmaceutical chemistry, and also so many materials are available. Polymers, most of the polymers are purely based on these organic compounds, and even all the living organisms are composed of these carbon containing compounds. Whatever fossil fuels we are using, all are made up of these carbon and its related compounds itself. That's the reason why carbon plays a vital role in our survival. So that here so these are said to be invaluable compounds. A few of the compounds are going to be demonstrated. One of the compound is ethanol. So here ethanol and ethanoic acid, these are the compounds are going to be discussed in detail. What is the structure and what kind of properties will be there, and what kind of chemical reactivity they are going to exhibit. Right. So these two compounds are going to be discussed. Ethanol is made up of two carbon chain with a hydroxy functional group. In accordance with the IUPAC nomenclature, ol is the suffix over here and two carbon parental chain, so that ethanol. And another compound which is also commercially important called ethanoic acid. In general, we can say acetic acid, right? Where we have two carbons, eth is the root word, so that here carboxylic acid will impart oic acid. Ethanoic acid is a IUPAC name. In general, we can say it is the acetic acid, right? These two compounds are going to discussed in detail in this session, right? So here ethanol, how can we synthesize this material? Even bioethanol is also available nowadays. It is becoming more significant because of blending with the gasoline in petroleum, and also in a fuel. It is used as a fuel as well. That's the reason why here the importance on this ethanol manufacturing is growing. So here commercially, this ethanol is prepared in the laboratory scale by adding ethene molecule, that is a carbon-carbon double bonded compound added with water. Simply we can say it is the kind of hydration of alkenes at the temperature of 360 atmospheric pressure is applied here. Phosphoric acid used as a catalyst in order to accelerate the rate of the reaction. So it is a kind of addition reaction. One of the hydrogen added to carbon and a hydroxy functional group is associated with any other carbon atom, so that it turned into a ethanol moiety. This is a kind of hydration. Addition of water to any of the substances called a hydration. So this hydration can be accelerated by the addition of catalyst called a phosphoric acid. So here even P2O5 phosphorus pentoxide can be applied in the place of this phosphoric acid as a catalyst. Tungsten, being it is a transition metal, its oxide at high pressure and temperature also used to give this a final compound called ethanol in so many ways. That means by employing different kind of catalyst, we can convert this double bonded compound into hydroxy compound by the simple addition reaction with water molecule. And ethanol can be synthesized from the natural source as well. So here the grains like corn, and this is said to be a wheat, barley, these three are the major sources, and they will participate in the fermentation process so that your ethanol will be originated. If we are going to synthesize ethanol from these natural resources, these grains, hence we can say ethanol as a grain alcohol. Ethanol is alternatively denoted as a grain alcohol because it can be extracted from the food grains, right? So this is also the way to synthesize ethanol from the natural source. Here, let us see the natural process of fermentation, how the huge carbohydrate molecules get fermented and transformed into a ethanol molecule along with the liberation of carbon dioxide. So in order to get this, we have to take the starch first. Starch is the polysaccharide. This polysaccharide is made up of a number of glucose units which got polymerized in such a manner. And these are the starchy materials, even potatoes as well as from rice, we can extract the starch. So in this manner, these components can be subjected to the natural enzymatic action. Amylolytic enzymes can be taken so that here starch molecules, long chain starch molecules get fragmented into glucose. Because it is made up of glucose as a starting material, we are going to cleave those long chain bonds into a shorter glucose molecules under enzymatic conditions. So here glucose, as we are aware that glucose is the source of energy, being it is a monosaccharide molecule and is the a power source, right? So here these glucose molecules next is subjected to the bacteria called yeast. Yeast bacteria is used to still cleave the molecules into a smaller pieces called ethanol and a carbon dioxide. Here ethanol can be obtained by this natural reaction with the yeast bacteria on these glucose molecules, so that here we will get the hydroxy compound ethanol. Along with the liberation of carbon dioxide, this will be entered into an environment, being it is a gaseous component. So this is about the natural process of fermentation which occurred in the nature. And let us see in detail about the fermentation. What is the definition of this one? The process of conversion of complex starch molecules and sugars into ethanol by the natural phenomenon of bacteria is called a fermentation process. Here it is clearly depicted. Sugar molecules are taken over here and added with the yeast bacteria. Excess of oxygen is needed, being it is the process of oxidation. Carbon dioxide is liberated over here along with the ethanol formation. This entire process is said to be a fermentation. Conversion of complex starch and sugar molecules into a simple ethanol molecule is said to be fermentation process. Right. So here ethanol is most widely applied and also having the the purpose of drinking. That's the reason why. So in the laboratory, in order to avoid that kind of misusage of this one, it will be added, it will be blended with any other substances. That process is said to be denaturation. So what's the purpose of denaturation? In order to avoid the misusage of this ethanol. So in the laboratory purpose, so here that can be blended with some other material so that it will become unfit for drinking. So that process is called a denaturation. So ethanol in general can be blended with methanol. If any person using or consuming this ethanol blended with methanol, they will lose their eyesight, so they will become blind. So that's the reason why denatured ethanol not at all susceptible for drinking purpose. Hence they can be denatured in this manner. Not only methanol, but also in either substance like a methyl isobutyl ketone can be blended in an aviation gasoline, and this is the process called a denaturation in order to avoid the misusage of this one. And moreover, it is a drinking liquid. So here it is toxic when 200 ml of this kind of blended one is administered, and that will become fatal dose. So that will not preferable at all, and it will become highly toxic and hazardous in nature. That's the reason why ethanol will be converted, intentionally converted into so unfit for drinking by the addition of either methyl isobutyl ketone or else methanol substances, so that it will become unfit for drinking, the process is said to be denatured. If that blended one, so this denatured alcohol consumed in the 200 ml, that is very minute quantity itself, but still it will become highly hazardous in nature. The solution of about 10% ethanol in the gasoline is said to be a gasohol, and it is an efficient motor fuel. It will reduce the carbon content, carbon emissions into the environment. So nowadays there is a great focus on blending of this ethanol with the gasoline, because gasoline is availability is limited. That's the first concern and the first constraint, being it is available in the limited quantity. If you are going to blend with ethanol, being it is a naturally available material, can be extracted from the garbage or any other waste products from the nature, so that economy in terms of economical perspective, it will be more beneficial. And the second is the quantity will not be destroyed, and third is carbon emission will be reduced. In so many ways, multiple application, multiple advantages we can find by blending of ethanol with the gasoline, which is commercially denoted as a gasohol. And even power alcohol, if we are blending 20% ethanol with the gasoline, that is called a power alcohol. So that is also used as an efficient motor fuel. So here any the impurities, methanol or methyl isobutyl ketone aviation gasoline can be blended, and this is the most efficient material. 10% ethanol when blended with the gasoline, that is very efficient for aviation, the fuel used in the aviation purpose. And next is about, just now we discussed that 200 ml of this denatured alcohol when consumed by any of the person, that will become the fatal. So it's highly hazardous. Survival is difficult at that condition, right? So here we are going to discuss about this gasohol. Gasohol is nothing but blending of 10% ethanol in the gasoline. So when we are taking 9 parts of gasoline and only 1 part of ethanol, that blend is said to be a gasohol. And even 20% ethanol blended with gasoline, that is said to be a power alcohol. So in that manner, the blended gasoline is more efficient to be used in the automobile fuel. And not only that, we can find so many wide applications for this ethanol, even in the medicinal chemistry. So where ethanol extracted from the natural source can be best used as a solvent. Itself, it is not having any curative property, but working like a solvent in order to dissolve that medicinal materials in that. It used to give the emulsion, so that here, in case of different kind of cough syrups, and also in a tincture iodine. So in order to dissolve this iodine tincture, that is mixed with the ethanol, and even in either syrups, so tonics, wherever we are using for the medicinal purpose, in all these cases, pharmacological activity can be exhibited by that medicinal substance itself, but here ethanol is used to dissolve that one, being it is a solvent molecule, efficient solvent molecule, so that here it's a commonly used solvent in the medicine preparation, especially in the liquid medicines like syrups and tonics as well. Here, in any other major application of, major determination for this ethanol can be done by using this detector. So as already we are aware that this ethanol can be used as alcohol, can be consumed by the people. So here, the instrument can be used to detect whether the person consumed alcohol or not. Alcometer will be there, where the chemical reaction involved in order to detect this alcohol consumption. Here, potassium dichromate is used to detect whether the person consumed the alcohol and the blade is blended with alcohol or not. So here, this is especially used in traffic. So while driving, if anybody consumed alcohol or not, in order to detect this, potassium dichromate test is used to perform. The main chemistry involved in this will be, while testing potassium dichromate used as oxidizing agent, whoever consumed the alcohol, whenever they are applying this potassium dichromate, what happens, this will be transformed into a carboxylic acid, being it is oxidizing agent. That's the reason why here the indicator will be shifted. Initially being potassium dichromate is orange color substance, that will be indicating your orange. So if any person consumed the alcohol, then it turned into a blue color. So by this color change, we can identify whether a person consumed alcohol or not. So this is the test in order to identify alcohol consumption by the persons who are driving. And any other technique is also there in order to identify, in order to detect, in order to diagnose this alcohol consumption, that is IR spectra. By using IR spectra, this is also the device which used to identify based on spectral analysis where hydroxy functional groups are present in the given person. So while they are exhaling, if any alcohol is there, what happened? They can detect these OH functional groups by using this one, so that here they can easily identify whether person consumed alcohol or not. So this is also the kind of detection and purely based on spectral analysis. Here it is the oxidation process get carried, and here is the analytical method applied in order to identify whether person consumed the alcohol or not. Now we are going to discuss about a few of the chemical properties which are more familiar with this ethanol molecule. Ethanol is just like a water only, because in so many aspects it would be resembling water, and water is used as a universal solvent. Wherever, whatever compound you are taking, all are visible with water in a sufficient manner. In the same pattern, this ethanol also having such kind of solvent property, and most of the organic compounds are soluble in this, and some of the protic solvents, protic compounds also soluble in this ethanol, being it is a polar compound. So here ethanol, where we already have one of the OH group, entire this ethyl moiety, when replaced with any other hydrogen, that will become water. That's the reason why there is certain extent of similarity between water and this ethanol molecule. So when this ethanol treated with a sodium metal, so here what happens, any of the metal when treated with this ethanol, that used to react and gives rise to a strong base. Strong base will be obtained where metal will participate in the oxidation and ethanol will participate in the reduction process. Hence, we can say this is a kind of redox reaction. Within the single reaction, oxidation, reduction, both are simultaneously possible, called a redox reaction. So ethanol consequently turned into a sodium ethoxide, being it is a strong base, and we are converting, and meanwhile this hydrogens released can combine to give rise to a hydrogen gas. So here hydrogen bubbles will be evolved when sodium metal is added to a ethanol. So this is a kind of identification reaction, and when it is treated with sodium metal, there is a formation of hydrogen bubbles are possible on its surface. And another common reaction with the concentrated sulfuric acid. We already most aware that concentrated sulfuric acid is a dehydrating agent that used to absorb, that used to remove the water. Dehydrating agent it is. Whenever concentrated sulfuric acid put in your hand, what happened, that used to absorb all the moisture present in this, and that used to make a hole in your palm. So that extent powerful it will be acid. So it's the king of acids in the entire chemistry. And ethanol, when it is treated with concentrated sulfuric acid at the temperature of 160 to 170, being it is a dehydrating agent used to remove the water from this ethanol, and here the formation of ethene, that is carbon-carbon double bond, along with the liberation of water is possible. Here it is working like a dehydrating agent used to remove the moisture, right? So whenever carbon compound is treated with sulfuric acid, what happened, that used to give the char, because all the moisture, carbohydrate, for example, let us take the sugar added with sulfuric acid, that carbohydrate completely turned into a black color char. That is purely because of total moisture will be removed by sulfuric acid, only carbon left over in that. Always carbon exists in black color, so that here in that spatula you can experience black color, because it will remove all the moisture from that carbohydrate. In this manner, here ethanol, when treated with sulfuric acid, here the formation of alkene and removal of water is possible. Here sulfuric acid is a dehydrating agent. Here we should be specific about the temperature. It should remove the water at the temperature range of 160 to 170 degrees. If temperature varies, product also varies. So we should be most specific for this temperature in order to remove the water. And next is about any other compound of most oftenly used organic compound, ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid is a IUPAC name and commonly it can be designated as acetic acid. Its chemical structure will be CH3COOH and represented in this manner. Carboxylic acid is the main functional group over here. C double bond OH is called a carboxylic acid. Here, ethanoic acid is a colorless liquid, and here it is clearly depicted. It is colorless, just like water. Characteristic unpleasant odor. So here, when we are taking glacial acetic acid, glacial, why it is called a glacial means just like a glaciers. So how glaciers are giving the smoke or what we can say fog type of material. In the same manner, when we open that acetic acid bottle, that kind of fumes are coming out. That's the reason why this acetic acid is called a glacial acetic acid when it is in higher concentration. So here that gives the unpleasant odor whenever it is in highly concentrated state. It is soluble in water, being it is a polar molecule, even though most of the organic compounds are soluble in organic solvents only, but exceptionally, this acetic acid is miscible with water, even though it is an organic compound, can be blended with the water. That is purely because of its polarity. So carboxylic acid can be existing in CH3COO minus and H plus. Such a kind of ionization can be appeared in the compound, hence it can be ionizable and dissolved in the water. Water is also ionizable, H plus OH minus. Likewise, here it is miscible with water and acetic acid will be represented like this, CH3 C double bond OH, and less acidic when compared to mineral acids. So within the name itself, it is indicated that it is an acid, sour taste containing material it is, and when compared to water and ethanol, its acidic nature is very strong. So in entire organic chemistry, carboxylic acid is the strongest acid. Carboxylic acid is the strongest acid. But when you go with the entire periodic table, it is the mild acid only, because organic acids are somewhat mild when compared to the mineral acids. What are the mineral acids? Hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, phosphoric acid, all these are regarded as mineral acids. Organic acids, within the organic chemistry, carboxylic acid is the strongest. But when we go with the entire periodic table, these are the mild acids only. So that's the comparison. But when compared to mineral acids, these are said to be less acidic in nature. The strongest acid ever known since is sulfuric acid, but still superacids are also available. Those are exceptional, extreme, but in general, in case of mineral acids, sulfuric acid is the strongest. And next is about ethanoic acid, commonly called acetic acid, and we are familiarly using this acetic acid in our kitchen as well as a vinegar when we are blending this acetic acid with water. Only 5 to 6% of acetic acid blended with remaining percentage of water. That means 95% water, only 5% acetic acid when taken, that is said to be vinegar. That extent diluted solution we are using as a edible purpose, right? So here vinegar is most familiar and it will be used as an alternate for lemon, right? So lemon is also made up of acid, right? So what's the citric acid is the composition of that one, vinegar composed of acetic acid. So they are used to induce the sour taste into our food materials. Ethanoic acid is commonly called acetic acid. 5 to 8% solution is called a vinegar solution and widely used in the preservation of pickles, because wherever acid is there, that used to avoid the bacteria. That's the reason why everyday lemon that used to improve the immunity. What's the meaning of that one? Because whatever bacteria is there, virus is there, any pathogens are there, they will not grow in that acidic condition. Every day one lemon consumption, that will discard all kind of diseases. because immunity will be improved. Being it is acid will not allow to grow any kind of pathogens in our human body. In the same manner, here also vinegar, being it is acid, what it will do? So when it is added with the pickles, that used to avoid the growth of fungus, growth of bacteria, any kind of water destroying material, so that preservation of pickles are possible. And next is about acidity. So within the name itself, it is mentioned that it is an acidic compound. So acidity is the most common property of this one, and it can be proved by the reaction with the metal. Whenever any acid treated with metal, what happened? That used to liberate the hydrogen. So any compound liberating hydrogen will be regarded as an acid. Here also acetic acid, when treated with sodium metal, what happens? It used to replace H with the sodium, and there is a formation of sodium acetate. Sodium acetate along with the liberation of hydrogen gas over here, so that we can say this is a acid. So, and direct reaction with base. Whenever any acid treated with base, there is a common reaction of neutralization, and a formation of salt and water is possible. In the same manner, ethanoic acid also treated with sodium hydroxide alkali, there is a formation of sodium acetate along with the liberation of water. Sodium acetate is a salt, and water is also generated during the neutralization reaction. But here the extent of neutralization, the extent of reaction is not uniform, because this is a mild acid. Sodium hydroxide is a strong base. That's the reason why here exact neutralization may not be possible. After the formation, the product is not exactly neutral in nature, but it is a kind of acidic compound, so that here neutralization reaction get carried with the reaction with sodium hydroxide. And next is about reaction sodium carbonate. Sodium carbonate is also designated as a base, right? So whenever sodium carbonate is treated with acetic acid, what happens? Hydrogen being removed with sodium. When hydrogen removed, here sodium get added, here sodium acetate generated, which is called a salt. Along with this, here carbonate now turned into carbon dioxide. One of the oxygen left over, here hydrogen liberated, and we need 2 moles for balancing the equation, stoichiometry. So here water along with the liberation of carbon dioxide is possible. This is called sodium acetate, and water, carbon dioxide is also evolved during this kind of neutralization reaction. And another reaction with the baking soda, nothing but sodium bicarbonate. When acetic acid treated with sodium bicarbonate, again it is a kind of, all these three are the part of neutralization and proof for its acidic nature only. When acetic acid treated with sodium bicarbonate is a mild base, acetic acid is a mild acid, so that your reaction is perfect in order to get the neutralization reaction. And acetic acid on treating with sodium bicarbonate, sodium acetate along with the liberation of carbon dioxide and water is possible, right? So it is also the kind of neutralization. So by this we completed 2 commercially available compounds. One is ethanol, second is ethanoic acid. Their composition, how can we prepare in the laboratory, and what kind of chemical properties imparted for these compounds are discussed in today's session. Hope this will be helpful for your preparation. Thank you very much for your consistent listening. Thank you one and all.